This is unfortunately not the video I was hoping to shoot.
An inferno. It was pretty scary.
It's been about a month since the day of the RBC Gran Fondo Whistler, which is, for those of you who've been following, you guys know that's the event that I've been training for this year. And it's taken me a month to make this video because it was just not the update that I wanted to share. And I think when you start training for something and have a very specific goal in mind and then can't even show up to the start line, it feels a little bit emotionally bizarre. Like I felt withdrawn after the lack of the event. So for those of you that are new here, I'm Ria. I'm a beginner cyclist who had decided that this year is going to be different. I want to have a big goal for my cycling journey and make that happen. And the big event that I wanted to do was the RBC Gran Fondo Whistler, which is a 122-kilometer ride with 2,000 meters of elevation from Vancouver in British Columbia, Canada, all the way up to this mountain called Whistler, mountain town. And unfortunately, I just did not make it to the start line. I packed my bike into my car and headed off from Calgary to Vancouver a couple days before the event. And funnily enough, like after a pretty wet first half of summer in Western Canada, like there was a lot of rain in Calgary in July, but in the couple weeks leading up to the event, it was extremely dry in the Vancouver, Squamish, Whistler area in British Columbia. And dryness and heat in summer in Western Canada usually means one thing, which is intense wildfires. And even on my drive from Calgary to Vancouver, I drove through a couple of them, which was a slight distance away, but the smoke was coming in to the highway. And literally that same evening that I got to Vancouver, they closed down a segment of the Coquihalla Highway between Calgary to Vancouver. And unsurprisingly, the province came out with an announcement because smoke levels had got so out of control that the air quality in the Squamish Whistler region, which is usually less than about 20 AQI, had hit about 200 or so. So that's 10 times the normal levels, which is considered unhealthy even for walking. So you can imagine 6 hours or whatever it takes. Most people, it would have taken me about 6 or more hours of intense exercise in those conditions is just not recommended for health reasons. And I mean, I'm primarily doing this for health and fitness. I'm not being paid. I'm not a pro cyclist, so I'm not doing anything to hit, podium speeds and times. I was doing this to have a good time, to get fit, to feel healthier, to get to the finish line smiling, enjoy the views. So looking back, it was probably the best idea to not go through with the event, but it does suck that I couldn't even make it to the start line. The organizers did offer graciously the ability for us to all defer to next year. And out of about 5,000 participants, I think close to half of them ended up deferring. I know that most everyone that I know that was supposed to participate did not end up cycling, but I still went up to Whistler. So I did drive up in, choked traffic because the province does shut down half of the highway specifically for this event. So I was in a peloton, just not the peloton that I was hoping to be in, primarily to just go up to the finish line and hang out with a couple of friends that had actually decided to follow through and continue with the race. So yeah, did this suck? 100%. Looking back, was it probably the smarter idea, especially given I have a history of, I did have asthma for a couple of years when I was a teenager, and I think I grew out of that. But with that background and the fact that I had hoped to do this ride for its beauty, the Sea to Sky Highway is on a good non-smoky day one of the most beautiful highways that you will see in the world. Um, and enjoy myself and get to the finish line smiling. given the circumstances, I don't think any of that would have been achieved. Um, so was it the smart idea? Yes. Was it a painful idea? 100%. It's been very weird in these few weeks following the event without, actually having hit my goal or my target. But given the space and time since that day, I think what has been cool is I've now, looking back, can appreciate all of the milestones that I achieved. For instance, hitting 4,000 kilometers of riding when I, on a good year, only done like 700, 800. That was a big deal. Being able to now climb 1,500 to 2,000 meters of elevation, huge deal. I think I hit my first 100-kilometer ride in June and my first 100-mile ride in August. Made some amazing friends in Calgary through the cycling world, have unlocked this superpower, really, where I can now imagine traveling using just two wheels, going on big adventures on just two wheels. I still am amazed and impressed with the consistency with which I showed up this year for the sport, especially not having an athletic background at all. Like, I've never trained for anything in my life. Even sports in school was just mostly recreational. We would have, school matches and tournaments and stuff, but no one really trained. You just showed up and had a good time. At least where I grew up in India, which focuses a little more on academics than sports in most schools. So yeah, never had that training background. Just really impressed, and my respect for athletes is insane, because the world that you have to, or the lifestyle that you have to build and stick with if you want to hit these goals takes so much discipline, so much consistency, and a lot of little sacrifices, whether it be with your nutrition, drinking, hanging out with friends, spending time on social media instead of cycling, prioritizing sleep. So things, all of these little changes that makes a huge difference to performance and ability to go the distance. For now, I'm just really happy with where my fitness is at, with the approach to cycling that I've built, which I think can carry forth into so many other things now. So yeah, let's see what the next big adventure is. 2026 Whistler might happen, since they did offer us the ability to defer, but there's 12 months between now and then, so I'm sure I'll get up to something fun. So hit like, subscribe, follow along, comment if you had also done a plan to do the RBC Gran Fondo Whistler and didn't end up doing it. Let me know how you feel or felt about your decision. If you did end up doing it, let me know how you felt about that decision. So yeah, drop those thoughts in the comments below, and I will wrap up this little series again, not with the update that I'd hoped to share, but wrap it up anyway, and we'll see what we have in store for us next. Ciao!